Alors on y va, on y va.
Right, let's get started. So we're going to tackle an economic topic now. We've quickly touched on inflation this morning, and we're now going to discuss it further with Timothy BUYSSE. Timothy, you are the head, the CEO of DP Survey Group, and you are a surveyor. So we're going to try and address inflation in 4 questions. So the first question may be more historical. When talking about inflation, so it's quite recent that we've started talking about inflation again. So when did it start, and how can we measure it? So first of all, French is not my mother tongue, so I would like to apologize. So when if I start talking about the allergies of my grandparents instead of insurance, I would like to apologize in advance. So we started talking about inflation at the beginning of 2020 after the COVID crisis, and we had a climax in 2022. So 10.2% in the Eurozone, and we hadn't seen this rate of inflation since 1975. So first of all, there were conflicts and wars in the world that were unprecedented. Then there was a disruption of the supply chain globally. And then there was an increase in demand of consumer goods during and after COVID. And fourthly, there was an energy crisis. Energy prices skyrocketed, which led to a lot of tensions. Now, what is happening right now? We are at about 2.6, 2.8% of inflation rate. So it means that we have an economic growth of 3%. We have an actual growth of 0.2%. As we heard this morning from Ludovic, there are several reasons, and I totally agree with him. So on the 10th of June, a report was published explaining that it was the first time since World War II that we've had so many conflicts at the same time in the world. So state against state, or state against armed group, which is making me very nervous. Then there's everything happening with the elections. So we know that this will happen in France, but also Belgium, Poland, Greece, the Netherlands, and also the choice between Joe Biden or Donald Trump in November. Thirdly, the European economy has been destabilized because Xi Jinping announced One Belt, One Road, which led to instability. This also had an impact in India, and the BRIC countries also announced that they would manage their own economy. So it started with Obama, it continued with Biden and Trump. America first, this has an impact on inflation as well, that's for sure. So looking at the consequence, the impact of inflation rate on the insurance market, what about it? I think there are 4 or 5 consequences. First of all, very high prices, and these rates will continue to grow. And I don't believe in a soft market and a hard market, and I think that it's very difficult for both brokers and insurers to place these risks. And then there's been an increase in claims and cost of claims. Because the claims that happened in 2020 were costing less than now in 2023. Let's imagine that we have a 10 million coverage for a cargo that is traveling from France to China. Insured value 10 million euros. There's a franchise of 100,000 euros. And if there's a machinery issue worth 250,000 euros, then 150 euros insured. And if this happens in 2023, if we take exactly the same example, sadly, costs have increased by 20%, meaning that we still have the same franchise of 100K, but to replace the machine, it's no longer 150,000 euros, but 300,000 euros, meaning that the insured loss can go up to 32%. And prices have already increased. Yes, and they will continue to do so. And that is why what is very important is the revision of premiums. And it's a very difficult task for surveyors, but also for insurers and for brokers. It's not going to be an easy task. And lastly, there's the impact on technical provisions. And I really wish it good luck, because it changes all the time. So it's difficult in the field of insurance right now. So when you show the graph, we can see that inflation has gone down. So does it mean that this cycle is over, or are we still feeling the aftermath? So we are probably still feeling the aftermath. First of all, there is a risk of under-insurance, which is not something that we should wish for, especially for the insured. So collectively, we need to be very cautious with this. The second impact is that the insured will tend to behave differently. So they can either change their behavior and look for alternatives and look for captives, so multinationals that are making captives. So let's take the example of a company that is going to make a captive company worth 1 million euros. So we need to be very cautious about this. And this applies to both insurance companies and brokers. So if we look at that kind of companies, and this is a real case that I'm taking as an example. So a revenue of 5 million euros and with a captive of 1 million euros. And this company has been able to make a lot of savings. And then when we went into details, we showed that they had about 60 million euros of claims under this captive. And what's going to happen with this? We do not know. So I think that the role of insurance companies and brokers is going to be very important in managing the impact of inflation. What about parametric insurance? Is that a solution? It could be a solution if we have all the necessary data, and we need to risk managers of our insured to be ready to apply it. So you do not believe in it? Not for now. So are you certain about certain things? Yes, about 3 points. France will be a football champion in Europe. It will win the Euro Cup. So I'm not particularly worried about the French football team, but what about the rest? Well, I know that they're going to win the title even with Mbappe's broken nose. Then a second certainty, we have a Unique Re, Allianz and Swiss Re announced that it's the premiums will be worth 38 billion euros in 2025, so there will be room for everyone. But then what I'm also certain about is that inflation is not over yet. It's here to stay. We need to be very cautious and adapt all the time. And I think that we need to have technical provisions that are significant. We need to be cautious and we need to be proactive. And I'm really a big fan of this triangle between the broker and the insurer and the insured. So this is what we need to rely on in order to find the right coverage with the right data. And we need to make sure that insurance policies are geared to the insured needs. And if you had asked me if Russia was going to invade Ukraine, I said, no, this will never happen. But it did. So we need to always remain cautious. That's a certainty. To conclude, everything that you just explained, did you think that this can change your job, including your job as a surveyor? I'm convinced. Because when I look at our audience here, people from the US, from France, from other countries, well, I think that our job is going to change because we need to be more proactive. So we need to have a loss prevention program. This can also help insurance companies sell their policies. So that's another kind of partnership between brokers and insurers. And the situation is unprecedented. So you need to use your database in the right way. And we need to show clients this is what happened in the last 5 years, and this is what is probably going to happen. So we need to work on this and to work on prevention. Thank you so much, Timothy. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.